transition movement under our brother here. So we needed to have the rest of you here. If we made arrangement for the rest of you to come and take your rightful position and you didn't come, blame yourselves. We still recognize you. What is being done here is not, we're not giving, I don't think Tanko, who is the DG of Obidient movement worldwide, is giving power to anybody here today. We're just asking people to go and work. Tanko will come at the appropriate time and inaugurate the leadership officially. I think there was something that was done online. He will come, he may not even become the secretary or whatever. When Tanko comes to inaugurate the official movement, being the leader of Obidient, we will still give support to that leadership. We don't have to be leaders, all of us. So let me apologize for my brother. Go back and tell your brothers, we love them very much, your brothers and sisters. We love them. They're doing a fantastic job and we'll work together. The people who are taking these books, we'll go to them, we'll ask them, go to them, because they are recognized people. They've been doing this job for ages. OUSG, I know of them. I've met with you in Warri. I think I wasn't in Ugali. You know, we have met several times, so if we don't recognize you, we won't ask you to come. Because of this short time, we made arrangement for you to be here. So thank you very much. I beg you, forgive us our shortcomings, but please don't take it to heart. We're same family. Aluta continua.
Address some things very quickly. Thankfully that Dr. Tanko is here, I'm here. And it will help even probably alleviate some of the questions that are going to come up. Because sometimes there are things that people are not privy to. And you didn't do bad, my brother. It's important to speak the way you did. Because you're actually speaking for millions of people across Nigeria and Delta State, not just Delta State. We are evolving, we are evolving, and therefore things like this are going to happen. And something you said that's very critical was the fact that you can see how this meeting mutated to this point. And Yoko, you did an excellent job on that. If this is recorded, it will help the people in Bauchi and other places. So we are accused yesterday, Your Excellency, was yesterday, yesterday now in Bauchi? Yeah, yesterday. As we speak right now, myself and Dr. Tanko will be holding a seminar because of a simple, we went to Bauchi, we didn't even spend 1 hour. This is a meeting between Mr. Peter Obi and the Governor Bala Mohammed, a closed-door meeting. And we just went and then came back. Oh, thankfully, the Mama too was there. As I speak to you right now, Bauchi is on fire. They are sending letters across. It's beautiful, but it just needs to be said. It has to do with the love, the energy, the passion and power.
Absolutely.
It's something that just wants to burst. Ordinarily, as I think of myself, by now probably I should be in Russia, America, somewhere as an ambassador. We shouldn't be in this room. What happened between 2022 and 2023? I should either be somewhere negotiating for Nigeria, Liberia or somewhere. It is failure that we are sitting in this room today. Nobody has a business of being in this room. Bola Tinubu has no business being where he is. And because we are not there, this is failure. I don't know if somebody understand what I'm saying. It has never happened. I graciously, humbly, and I'll say it, 2024 alone, I had the opportunity, alone, we were in 17 states in America with His Excellency. People who think, I don't even know how to put it, but the energy of this movement, it can break Africa or heal it. And that's what we're feeling here. But before I give the mic to Dr. Tanko, it is also instructive. Because you see, we can agitate, we can agonize, we can shout. It's not going to do anything much. Africa has been doing that since the inception of Africa. Yes. Advocacy is another level of that. Yes. You can do advocacy. Metukuri has been doing that. They have over, in fact, me too, they have collected grants from a lot of non-institutional initiative. 10 million people were doing. It's what Donald Trump stops, the billions and millions, it will not stop our military. The reason why Boko Haram there, because it is what a criminal enterprise. Yeah. So advocacy will not solve it. We saw a glimpse in 2023, it's called mobilization. So you can agitate, you can advocate until you mobilize. And even mobilization is just an aspect of it. Yeah. There is what is called organization. Until we organize as a people, we're not going to go anywhere. It took 82 years of organization before Martin Luther King was killed. I didn't say that they found racial injustice. 82 years of organization. When they organized, they killed him because they knew that the salvation of the black man was there. It took 87 years before Mandela became what? President of South Africa. What we have done is crashing. We've done the job of a lifetime in just 8 months. So please, as leaders, when you hear things like that, and the responsibility lies on everybody here, not just on Dr. Tambo, anybody. Anywhere you see a few, kill it. If you don't kill it, it will consume all of us. Bola Ahmed Tinubu will continue. Whether you bear a name or not, this is the first time I've been addressed as the secretary of the, because it does not, it does not matter. When I travel with His Excellency, I'm a PhD, I've traveled across, I've been at least 40 countries. I teach in Rwanda and different places. You know what I do? I'm his photographer, I'm his protocol officer, I clean his shoe, I do, and I don't even show up. It's not for club, because Nigeria is at stake. Yes. Somebody in one village who has not even gone out of Nigeria, he's not even, he wants to be Oga. I swear to you, some of you will not be in the class where I'm teaching. But I mean nothing where the equation of Nigeria is concerned. And it's just important to say this. Whether it is here in Delta or it's in Bauchi, there's a unification that we must have that kills position and any identity. Sure. It is only on that premise that a new Nigeria can be born. Oh, yeah.
Great obedient. Great obedient. Please, gentlemen, can you just stand up? Please, a round of applause for me. Thank you. Do you know why I say you should clap for him? It's only in a movement of this nature that you find a voice that will raise up for a purpose and something that he felt was wrong, and he raised it and he's not arrested in the next place. You've seen how they've been arresting people everywhere. Did anybody touch you now? No. They do not accept you. We love your energy. That is the decency of it. That's what makes us unique. And also, it's important also to say that what you just did now can also be done in another way. You will have also asked the leadership a question, and they will have answered you. And your outburst wouldn't have been of this particular nature, and yet you have achieved the same purpose. And that is the new spirit in which we should adopt. I was very much aware of the challenges in Delta State. And the challenges were that the older and the younger ones are at cross purpose. Some of the younger ones felt that the older ones are taking over their own positions. And the younger ones also want to challenge the leadership of the older ones. Look at the people sitting here. Look at all of us. I'm not sure you are imagining that all of us will be seated on this table for you. But all of us left whatever we are doing. This is one of the most highest level of leadership combined that had never happened in the Obidient movement, sitting right in front of you in Delta State. And you think probably for us coming here, we came because we are joking? No. We came because we are as passionate as you are. We are determined as you are. We are resolute as you are. In fact, we are in the forefront of the struggle as you are. I've not seen my family for over how many months? I just came back from Maiduguri. We were together with the distinguished senator in Bauchi. We were together with her. We just came back from Owerri with His Excellency. Every day we are on the move. So, all for the collective interest. So here is the story. The issue of Delta State is something that we need to settle and understand each other. these leaders that you have, you should be very, very happy and thanking God that you have some of them. Instead of them to retire in their homes, your father is over 70 years old. 80 years old. From what Idiot is from you, is one of the eldest men. He's a comrade of estimable value. And he's here with you. Kempela is here. Theophilus in Liverpool is here. Ibrahim here. Jude here. And then, Papa, go and check other states. How many of the others that you see on stage? Go and check. So I think these gentlemen deserve a very round of applause for you. Thank you, sir, for doing what you are doing. We really appreciate it. Imagine if this gathering had not taken place, people have been silent, we are not doing anything. But it has sparked of interest. It has gained traction. And you just told me everywhere is agog now. That's what we want. So that nobody should be sleeping. We are up and doing. Okay. So, solution. Yesterday we had a meeting. One of the most teaching problems that we had with the Obidient movement is how to build the state structures. Ala Ibrahim here gave us a brilliant idea. And the idea was, instead of us having one single leader in each state, let us enact the activities of all the Obidient movements support groups. We've already had leaders in each state. In these states, we have Kempela as part of the particular leadership. We have Chris. We have yes, we have quite a number of them from each of them. And then Chris Nwakobia, all of them are there. So we're challenging them with this responsibility. Have a meeting of this nature. Bring everybody together. And then let's agree on how to administer the activities of the states using those particular existing support groups. And we can give them name. We can say, if you are NMPO, we say NMPO Obidient Movement, CPO Obidient Movement. Everybody is in the Obidient Movement, but each and every one of you will be doing what you think you can do best for us to get to that particular destination. That way, it takes care of any leadership struggle on everybody, and everybody is the leader, and we are moving together as a force. That was the decision yesterday, and we are supposed to give that particular decision or suggestion to everybody and speak to the leaders and allow the directorate also to continue moving. One of your boys, Maurice Mounier, is the director of the mobilization. And we have others too in every zones. So believe me, what we are building is a voters' revolution. And every one of you must be involved. So please, nobody is annihilated. But what you just started now is another support in mobilization, because if you go home, our target is to mobilize 200 persons at each polling unit. 200. By the time you calculate it, you will have had 17 million voters voting for Peter Obi. And that is more than the total number of votes given to them. So that is our target. We're discussing in the house. But if you go back, if you sit down here, rancouring, arguing, and all of that, it won't take us anywhere. Those people, they are planning, before they didn't even have the resources of government, they have it now. Before they don't have police of government, they have it now. The guns are in their position. Everything, propaganda and lies. As I'm standing before you here, the government told me they give me money for the South, Northern people in Christmas, and nothing like that happened. They concocted it. They say, oh, God married 17-year-old, they concocted it. So the only strength we have is you and I. And the strength in which we have, we can defend our vote at any point and any time, because he who has the population has the vote. And let us use this energy to transform Nigeria into a better society. So please be patient. We'll continue to mobilize, and we are up and doing. I can assure you, nobody will be left out. And in Nigeria,
let me just say one thing, and I take that from Dr. Mo. You know, Dr. Mo said something which I think we should take we should take very seriously. Mobilize and organize. If we can mobilize and organize, and we know those things it takes to organize and mobilize, nobody will win any election in this country except us. Because we have what it takes. And comrades, please, there is something talked about funds. Of course we need funds. But comrades, please, this party is not going to be party for money bags. If you have a vehicle that something, you must find a way to fund it. It is the idea of money bags in the Labour Party that has caused the problem we have today. Please, we must be creative and imaginative on how we are going to fund, how we work. The NLC, as we see it now, you know, it's to check on this. And we are all volunteer organizations. We must be creative and imaginative on how we fund our work. And the comrade here, you know, talks about yesterday we were talking. He said in the process of this campaign, he stayed in a room with 7 people, you know, at 80. I was staying in a hotel where the only space to sleep was in the toilet. Yes. So let us be imaginative, and I assure you, if we succeed in what we are doing, the issue of funds will no longer be as a problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We are all burning with the same passion for a new Nigeria. We may have different approaches to it, but the goal is the same. So, Elijah raised an issue earlier, and that issue was adequately trashed. The national coordinator has also advised that just yesterday, in the meeting that was held, an approach to how to handle the issue of the groups was agreed on. So, what we're going to have is an opportunity for everybody to continue, for your own zeal to continue burning, so that you can drive the process towards our collective goal. Let us all continue to burn with that passion. That new Nigeria, I was at an interview yesterday, and I was asked a question that, do I still intend to run again? And I said, after Edo, I felt quite discouraged. I was there, I campaigned in Edo for several weeks. And then as the results were coming in, I was with Olumide, and I felt quite discouraged. In fact, it was the one encouraging all the rest of us. And I started wondering, what are we struggling for? Why are we ever going to beat these people? But then I encouraged myself later on. And what keeps me going is the belief that evil cannot perpetually prevail over good. Let us always remember that. That evil cannot perpetually prevail over good. It can only happen if good men like you, seated in this room, refuse to stand against evil. Don't give up. A new Nigeria is definitely possible. Thank you.
We would like to hear from Ambassador Dr. Lizzie Onyemacha, is the Chairman, Local Organizing Committee. Thank you.
Please clap for this strong woman.
Great obedience. Great obedience. A new Nigeria is possible. I'm overwhelmed this afternoon. It's see my people all over the place. People from Abuja, far and near, here, I appreciate you all. Thank you very much. On behalf of the local organizing committee, I want to extend my sincere gratitude to everyone who contributed to the success of this and training program. Your dedication, hard work, and unwavering support made this event possible, and we could not have achieved this milestone without you. Let me especially appreciate the chairman of the National Caretaker Committee of the Labour Party, distinguished Senator Esther, who's my beloved sister. I love you. Thank you too much. Thank you very much. Too much. Who came all the way from Abuja to honor our invitation? The same goes to the national coordinator of the Obidient movement, my beloved Dr. Tanku Musa. Thank you very much. And Professor Theophilus Ndobato and Comrade Chris Yuto. I appreciate you all very much. Thank you. So, this event was not a ceremony, but a stepping stone towards having a country of our dream. And we are grateful to have such passionate and supportive team executing this event seamlessly. Thank you very much, because you've been there. Each time we call upon you, you are there. One of Grand Hotel, you were there. We did local government, majority of us were there. You never give up. Because I always use that as my slogan, that it is not over until it is over. One thing I always talk about, it is not a fault or evil for one to fall, but it is very bad when you fall and refuse to stand. Yeah, standing is paramount, but failure is also paramount. Failure is a teacher and it's a corrective. This application will be incomplete without recognizing the increase. Who is ever ready to come to our aid. Hence, he is always called and addressed as motivator. Also, Chief Kenneth Kama for his commitment and effort in planning and organizing. The Obidient Daddy, Chief Chris Joseph, painstakingly compiled and printed the inauguration and workshop book brochure as for participants. He has also offered to support the Obidient movement in Delta State with digital research and electronical recording keeping facilities. Please clap before you clap. Planning the establishment of Obidient office in the state. So many persons actually did a lot. Like Ajifu, whom all the time I wake him up in the midnight. I keep calling him. He said, this girl, let me. He calls me even if I'm a grandmother. I said, please, let me rest. Do you sleep at all? And he always give useful advice. Without him, nothing would have been achievable. Once again, I thank you for your invaluable contributions. We look forward to more successful collaborations in future. Each time you are called upon, please, nagging is allowed. No, nagging is allowed, and the upright is allowed. Restoration is the final decision. Thank you very much for your cooperation. I remain yours, Obidient man. Thank you.
Thank you. We have come to the high point now. We would like to call on Gioma Deli Ajibo Big Daddy for the vote of thanks. Thank you so much, sir.
I think Lizzie has done the vote of thanks. There's not much to say. My mission was to make some submission and do a vote of thanks. You might wonder what is propelling old men like me and Chris Bios there to remain in this struggle. Let me tell you that fateful Saturday, October 1, 1960, I was at race course when I saw the Union Jack come down and the green, white, green go up. It was nostalgic. We were filled with such hope. I was at the stadium with 5 other friends. We had left school because schools were closed, and those of us who came from the north then, in the boarding house, because it was a short vacation, were allowed to stay on. That was October 1, 1960. It was a Saturday, I remember. And as the flag went up and the national anthem was played, this one that Obidient Daddy was singing, pleasantly, Nigeria will hail thee. We loved it then. Ladies and gentlemen, we walked from Race Course to Yaba on that day. People were offering us Coca-Cola, no, not Coca-Cola, Victo on the way. It was like Jesus Christ has come to rescue Nigeria. I went with 5 friends, I said. We were 6. The rest are dead. I'm the only one surviving. So when I look around, I say, if I die today, I'm sure I'll see Sonia and I'll see Kende, I'll see Afodiolo. And they'll tell me, oh boy, how Nigeria Day. I say, the place don't shakao. But that's what I will say. But then came a likely savior. I don't think anybody here is a member of the Labour Party older than myself. I've been a member of the Labour Party since 2010. I left because of personal disagreement with the then leadership over how we handle funds. And when Barad and Paiko Salami took over, he told me to come back. I said, no way, I'll quit politics. And I made my wife that promise. Today she's not too happy because she says to me, for politics you've always disappointed me. Today you quit, tomorrow you come back. And that is what is politics, it's in your blood. All of you here, you're here because politics is what? In your system. We may disagree on the matter of issues like that young man raised, but thank God Tanko has addressed it admirably, and also Dr. Moore. You talked about Labour Party. I talked to this young man 12 times a day. I said, take the fight to Abure. He's a coward. We know he's being funded. There are 4 cases waiting in court for him. Take it to the press. He said, we don't have money, we don't have God. But then you decided to take the battle up now. Am I right? So we have a fighter as a leader. I think I'll go to Christina Margaret Thatcher. Because when I spoke to her yesterday about this fight, she says, when I get back, I'm going to call on the back. We are going to start the fight. You see, the issue is that if P2B leaves Labour Party will go back to what we were. Even when Mimiko was the only governor we had, we all depended on our public secretary then, somebody from Ala-Igbo, I don't know if I can't remember his name. The publicity he did for Labour Party was, when are we going to print the next invoice? When are we going to print the next letter-headed paper? That was his job as public secretary. I said, oh, but they never hear your name. Go and talk about the mission of the Labour Party. I will call the radio, they didn't have many TV stations. I will call the radio station, they will interview Dan Wanyamu in the office in Ladoka Kintola Street, Boulevard in Abuja. That was the only publicity we had. Every week, our leader Dan will go to the villa and come back smiling. I don't know what he's smiling about, but your guess is as good as mine. I'm trying to enlighten your mood so you can know that while we are serious about politics, it could also be fun. It could be fun if you address it properly. What my brother said here about Labour Party, we can retrieve it. I want us to retrieve it because if PO leaves Labour, Labour don't finish, they don't Africa. You understand? And there's a window of opportunity. INEC understands that. They're just waiting for a struggle that will trigger that thing. Because like Madam told us yesterday, if you go to INEC portal, you see this party, they tell you Congress of this day elected them. This was Congress, or you come to Labour Party, court order. That's not a political party. So when we start now, please, like Tanko said, go back if you're OUSG, cop them, POSN, all of them, work in that little window you are, but remain what? Obedient. Because we have it. In fact, I'm going to ask your permission when you go back to leadership, change the slogan of Obidient. Great Obidient, not a new Nigeria is possible. A new Nigeria is our objective. You're possible. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It is our objective, and objectives are meant to be what? Achieved. If you're right. I'm making a suggestion. You understand? So the battle is not over. I was talking to the other person yesterday. They said, "Yeah, you can't go home." He said, "No, if I'm not tired, you cannot be tired." You understand? The man is older than me, and he's not. This man, he doesn't sleep. 11 o'clock, he's calling me in Lagos. Said, "Have you done this?" I said, "Yes, I've done it." Look at all these things. The man keeps writing. He still has it there. And the main thing is that he still has that passion. And I admire him. Let me thank this young man. Where is she? Listen. When I saw some of you yesterday, I don't know whether you're still here, I thought they were going to eat out. They were all aggressive, and I said, "Oh my God, this poor girl." But she handled it admirably. She's an organizer par excellence. People like her organizing things, we won't have any problem. Let me thank Madam. I've been calling you to come here, and when you were in America, you came, you ran away to Dubai. I said, "Someone wants to avoid us." So then when she called me, when she was in Dubai, we couldn't talk. It was a text message. When she confirmed, I said, "Tell me whatever you want. Delta, whether it's touch or whatever, or wine, we'll provide it." As for time, I didn't know that Dr. Mo was coming, because Dr. Mo is Peter Obi's handbag. I would say it's a broccoli here, or a broccoli rather. But Tanko, sometimes, let me tell you one little story. Tanko had an award last year. July, right? No, February. When was this? At the award in Lagos. February, Africa, something. Yes. And he made sure I was there. And the Labour Party Lagos lawyer, what is his name? Remember him? He was there. And he came and told me, "If you know Peter, tell him not to work with Julius Abure. That this Julius Abure was with Arabami, and he was calling Abure." This was February last year. So you can remember that time, everything was still looking with Abure and Obi, almost. Arabami was talking to Abure. He said, "Let us leave Peter on until the election time. We will give him the ticket, just for the election, we'll take it." He was talking three-way phone between Arabambi, Abure, and the Kebbi State Labour Party chairman. I don't know. And he said this thing to me, I mentioned it to you. So we have to be careful the people we work with. Abure is probably trusted. I called Abure, sent him a message. He called me a silly old man. I have it here. And as an old man, I told him, "Your end will be very hard." And I didn't curse you. I just told you that you have too much baggage. Step down. I'm sure the Labour Party will make you chairman board of trustees. He said, "What stupid baggage, you old man?" He started gossiping. Yeah, I felt so stupid. Young man there, they insult old man like me. But I just sent him a message. I said, "I did not insult you. And for this insult, I pray that your end will not be very good." And it will be good. So let me thank Madam for finding time to come. Dr. Tanko Yunusa, Damana, Agesheka, Salizwa. Agesheka. Dr. Mo, Paiga, welcome. Now, take it in. For coming. Understand? Everybody. We salute you. I don't know how to use to say my boss to me. That's right, baby. So, all of you for coming. The guy who said there is no money. Did you see what happened in the north? Our breaking fast. People contributed money to make cups, to serve tea with Peter Obi's logo.
Yes.
for people to come and bring back. We have to make it happen. I'm a pensioner. At 80, I shouldn't be working. I'm a pensioner. I don't receive pension. My wife's pension is 120,000 a month, and that was since 2015. 120,000 a month in 2015 will buy you 1/4 what you bought then. Sure. Today. This is what you people should find out. Should change such that your pension should be linked to, should be an index-linked pension, linked to inflation. That is what Labour Party should stand for, because Labour Party is for the workers. You work for the government, you have national health insurance. The day you retire, the insurance stops, correct? Correct. The day you leave, and that is what in UK, I still enjoy national health till tomorrow. When you leave the insurance, government says, we've used you, we've dumped you. The Labour Party will change it. So we're begging them to make it possible. And we're begging our brothers who are close to PO, let him not announce anything about leaving Labour, because the day he announced that he's leaving Labour Party, forget it. Let us give them an opportunity to see if we can retrieve it. And for those of you who are going fast, may God take you back safely. Amen. Nothing will happen to you. Amen. You will live to see a good, sustainable Nigeria. Amen. Where your efforts are rewarded. Amen. Don't wait for me to give you money to print form. Print it. And tell me about printed form. Until I said I have to go to paternity today, it's 20 shillings. I only have 10 naira. We'll find it. Yes, sir. That is objective of labor. Let me tell you, before Obi came, there were no philosophical, political, ideological parties anymore. They were now waste. Awo has a philosophy and an ideology. Please. And I belong to the Zikist movement. I was the Zikist youth movement that Zik used to come and address us at ZAC in Yaba before the election. It was in my school. It was in my school dining hall. That's party those days. They don't use nice buildings like this. My dining school hall that Zik had a conference the day KO Mbadiwe, Kola Balogu, Todd Benson decided to leave NCNC. You understand? And the great thing said, they will come back. They will come back. We were all sad because we loved that movement. And in true to him, they all came back except KO, if you remember. KO formed some party.
Yeah, named that part of my room.
Yes, you know. So, yeah, no, NCC was their party. So, we had people that had ideology. Today, the Obidient have become a movement that came in to change the face of politics in Nigeria. Yes. It transcends Nigeria now. Some of my friends in Tanzania come in and say, oh boy, when I don't get movement for Nigeria, for the cause of themselves Obidient in Tanzania. I say, oh, he said, I don't know why they call it Obidient is a movement in Nigeria. He said, Ashe, the man is about 70 in Tanzania. And I hear in Ghana, if Pio goes to Ghana today, is more. The man has come to change the face of Africa. We must also be careful because the international community don't like who will change the face of Africa. But Africa has come for liberation, and this is the period. The emergence of Donald Trump has told us we cannot get that from them. So we must look inwards. Let me see what I say. Thank you all for coming. If during election, if you vie for a position, you don't get it. Don't fight. Don't scatter. You're not chicken. It's only chicken that looks for something to eat, doesn't see it, scatters. Build. You understand? There's nothing. If you can be, my mother used to tell me, you can be a tree in the forest, be a grass, but the best of the grasses. Let us all be grasses that will support the tree. Thank you. God bless you all. And like I said before, the struggle continues and the struggle continues. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for...
We did say that you involve them in decision making. We did say that your conduct was ethical. Today, I think there's a person called Kenneth Okonkwo. He was very angry with Peter Obi because he felt maybe Peter Obi is not lead a revolution when he won.
Not so worried.
Yeah?
Peter is not so worried.
But he's an ethical person. He's an ethical person. He believed that things should be done the way they were. His idea was not just to become a president, but to see a better Nigeria. So he didn't want to partake in the idea of circumventing the rule of law just to get to power. He was ethical. Is it accountability? He had it. He had accountability. So I want to urge us, because we are Peter Obi represented in our various communities. People have lost hope, I will tell you that. But if they see you and I still having hope and carrying activities that are sacrificial in nature, not because you want something, but you want to have an impact in society. There was something he said. He said, if you have not created and managed wealth, you should not have any reason to be in governance. Most of the people in governance today, they have not created or managed what? Wealth. Outside government, they are nothing. Peter Obi has been out of government for years, but he still gives charity to organizations. So I want to say, because of our time frame, that please, we need people who are competent, who have capacity, who have the passion for Nigeria. Nigeria is the only country we have. For those who have gone around the world, we are all second-class citizens. The only country that we are first-class citizens is what? Nigeria. Nobody will respect you in his own country. You are a second-class citizen. It is only in Nigeria you are what? A first-class what? Citizen. It is the only country that you have a right to make demands of the government. You don't have right in so many other countries. Forget what is happening there. For competence, part of it is, it's just an embodiment of Peter Obi, mediocrity. You know, the government we have today, sorry to say, you have a lot of mediocres. I don't know any, sorry to say, I don't know any minister that I can look up to currently. In those days, we had people like Okonjo-Iweala. We have Dora Akunyili. We had Femi Adesina. I don't know whether we have them today. Most of them are like social media or content creators that I see today. So I want to appeal to us that what we are doing today is not just to have a conference. Thank God it's starting from Delta State. But it should go around the entire country. We need a better Nigeria. We have been insulted in every front. You go to South Africa, they tell you leave. You go to UK, they tell you that there are immigration policies that are stifling Nigerians. You go to different countries of the world, you have them. It is only Nigeria that what we have. Today I look at Rwanda. Who am I not? Burkina Faso. I have not been there, but from the news I'm hearing, it is a military government, yet the people are happy with what they have. I want to urge us. Our current president told us that power is not served a la carte. So for us to be in power, it is not going to be easy. It will take what? Commitment. So I want to encourage us that, irrespective of the challenges that we have, let us not be discouraged. Because if we are discouraged, we will not be able to encourage what? Others. I pray that this conference is not just a conference that is listed among activities that were done, but it will be a reason for us to move from where we are to where we are supposed to be. I want to say thank you to everybody, and God bless you. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. We're moving on now to the third president in sustainable democracy, and this will be the
to stand on the already established protocol for the want of time. I want to appreciate the organizers of this event for extending this invitation to me as one of the speakers in this workshop. The invitation came just some few days ago, and before then I already have my schedule for today. But because of my love and hope in the Obidient movement, I shared that already established engagement and accepted to be here. And so, at this point, permit me to express my pleasure and delight to be part of this event today. It is something I've been looking forward to. I'm not a regular politician, I'm not a card-carrying member of any political party, but in the last presidential election, I worked for the Labour Party, particularly the Peter. Because that was the only thing that represented hope for Nigerians and even our children that are yet unborn. And so I supported the political party. But listen to me, ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon. Statistics proved that in the 2023 general election, a good number of percentage, particularly in the north, that some units there had no representative of Labour Party, particularly the pool agents. Some pool centers, some pooling units have no political party representative. And that statistics have been validated and confirmed this morning by some past speakers. I listened to Dr. Paul Moses, who have said that Nigerians voted overwhelmingly for Peter Obi, but that vote was not overwhelmingly protected. And that was where we had our issue, and all that happened thereafter. This afternoon, I'll be given a topic to speak on: role of grassroots party executive in sustainable democracy. And that is where the statistics I've just read out has to come in. If we have strong grassroots party executive across all the polling units in Nigeria, we will not have that problem. Effectively as representative of Obidient movement and by extension Labour Party. Democracy thrives where political institutions are strong, inclusive and representative. A sustainable democracy depends not only on national leadership but also on the contributions of local political structures, particularly grassroots party executives. These grassroots officials form the bedrock of political parties at the community level, ensuring political participation, mobilization, and good governance. Now the question is, what is sustainable democracy? It refers to a system of government that is accountable, transparent, and responsive to the needs of its citizens. And so when we have a system of government that the people can hold accountable, that can respond to the yearnings, aspirations, and the needs of the people, that is transparent in all its programs and processes, then we can say we have a sustainable democracy. It is a democracy that is built on the principles of participation, representation, and accountability. As we gather here today, I want to ask, what is the state of our democracy in Nigeria? Does it really show that we have a sustainable democracy? No. And are we truly representing the voices of the people? No. The representation can only come through the participation of grassroots political executives. So who are grassroots party executives? They are the foot soldiers of political parties. Take note of that. They are the foot soldiers of political parties, working at the local level to mobilize citizens, promote party policies, and ensure that the voices of their communities are heard. Every one of us, irrespective of the level we are operating, whether at national level, international level, or at state level, we are all grassroots party executive because we came from somewhere. And so even if we are national officials, we still come from somewhere which we need to look back to from time to time to ensure that the interests, the yearnings, the aspirations of those people are represented fully and effectively. Grassroots party, thank you. Grassroots party executive play an indispensable role in sustaining democracy by fostering civic engagement, ensuring policy implementation, managing political conflicts, and strengthening the democratic culture. The work of grassroots political parties at the local level determines the overall success of political parties. Yes. This presentation, however, will explore the various roles of grassroots party executives in building and sustaining functional democracy. So as we have gathered here, as I've said, we are the grassroots party executive. What are our roles? I'll mention a few of them because of our time. The first one is political mobilization and voter education. Take note of that. Our role, political mobilization and voter education. Grassroots party executives are responsible for mobilizing individuals at the local level to participate in democratic processes. They educate community members about their political rights, the importance of voting, and how governance impacts their daily lives. The role of grassroots party executives in voter education is crucial in preventing voter apathy and ensuring that people make informed decisions during voting. We have a lot of work to do in this regard. A lot of work to do. You see many people, especially at the local level, they are only interested in what they can collect on that day of election. They are not interested in who governs them thereafter. But we are made to understand that governance has a way of impacting our daily life. And who are the drivers of governance? Those people we have elected. And so if we are so concerned about the 10,000 naira, the 15,000 naira that we are going to collect on election day and vote those people who have no capacity, those people who have no integrity, those people who are not committed to Nigeria, those people without honesty, as my brother have just mentioned, at the end of the day, their policies are going to affect us, even we as individuals, as we have in the present day Nigeria. Are we all not being affected? Yes. Thank you. Now, we must do a work. Responsibility has been placed on us to carry out a very effective voter education, enlightening them of why it is important to participate in election processes, our rights as an individual, and why we should vote the right candidates with capacity. I want to thank the Obidient movement. I think the mobilization was top-notch in the last presidential election, despite the short period of time. Yes, it was top-notch. Now look at it. In 2015, we witnessed a merger of some political parties that came together to form the APC. Whether you believe it or not, in 2015, APC did a lot of work. And that is why they were able to win the presidential election. A lot of work, a lot of mobilization, a lot of education went into their campaign and all that. Now, in respect of political mobilization, what is our responsibility? What do we do? And I target practical implication for political mobilization. What do you need to do? Number one, encourage voter registration and participation in election. You must encourage it within your locality, within your community, within your local domain, starting from your own house, down to your place of work, down to your church, and all across your areas of influence, circles of influence. You must do what? Encourage them to vote, encourage them to participate in election. 2, organize town hall meetings, rallies, door-to-door campaign, and public engagements. You must do that. Somebody has talked about commitment, Mr. Eboka. You must be committed to this Obidient movement. You must organize town hall meetings from time to time. Let the Obidient be heard. Let the message be carried across all strata. You must do rally. There must be door-to-door campaign. There must be public engagement. The next one is sensitize locals on electoral processes and policies, as well as party manifestos. And another one is that you must combat misinformation and political propaganda. There are a lot of misinformation, a lot. And if you listen before now, people will tell you that Mr. Peter Obi is only dealing out statistics, and statistics one job. That is a misinformation. They have seen his potential. They know they were already threatened by those statistics, and he has always challenged them. Verify those statistics. And so this misinformation came that most of those statistics are not correct, and no one has been able to prove, or no one has been able to lay to bear those areas that are not correct. But now we, the grassroots executive at the local level, we must as much as possible combat those misinformation and political propaganda. Now, if we are going to do this, what will be the impact? The impact is that there will be a high turnout of voting, high voter turnout, and informed electorate leading to issue-based voting rather than voter endorsement. By engaging the electorate effectively, grassroots executive will enhance political awareness and democratic participation. Number two, what do you do as a grassroots party executive? Recruitment and candidate selection. Recruitment and candidate selection. Democratic governance depends on the quality of leadership at all levels. Grassroots executive identify, nurture, support potential candidates who represent the party's value and serve the interests of the people. I think we have come to an age in Nigeria, the awareness is already there. People are becoming conscious that when you are recruiting, when you are selecting, when you are voting people to represent your party at any given level, you must look out to people with service-driven instinct, people who are purpose-minded, people who, candidates who are people-centric. Now look at it. So many persons rode on the platform of Labour Party, particularly the credibility of Peter Obi. They were eventually elected. You see the way they are leaving Labour Party now, drifting to the party in power. Those people are not people of what? Service. They are not people-centric. They don't have the capacity. And so please, let us try as much as possible to get it right this time around. That from the local level, where primaries are being organized, we should look out for people who have the capacity to occupy that position, people of character, people of capacity, people of honesty, people of integrity, who will carry the values of the Obidient movement, irrespective of what happens. Now, what do we do? Yes, thank you. Thank you. Practical implication for recruitment and selection. Scout for emerging political talents within the community. We must scout for them. Emerging political talent within the community. Two. Thank you. Number two, facilitate primary election or consensus candidate selection. Number three, ensure inclusivity and diversity in political representation. Number four, provide mentorship and support to aspiring politicians. Yes, we must provide mentorship. We must support them at all levels. We must look out for those. We must see people with capacity. We must have that ego eye to know that this person has capacity, to know that this person carries the value of the Obidient movement. I've told you that is the only hope we have. And that is why I'm here today, because I see the Obidient movement as the only hope for Nigeria. Yes. And so, at our various communities, we must look out for those people with the desired capacity to drive this mission, to take Nigeria to what? To the new level, to see the new Nigeria of our dream. By facilitating fair and transparent candidate selection process, grassroots executive contribute to democratic integrity, stability, and sustainability. Another role of the grassroots party executive is bridging the gap between the government and the people. Bridging the gap between government and the people at the local level. Grassroots party executives act as intermediaries or links between the government and they communicate the policies and programs of the ruling or opposition party to the citizens and in turn relay community grassroots concerns to the leadership. This two-way communication helps in addressing local grievances and fostering trust in governance. Yes. So we elect people to represent our constituencies, and as they represent, they form part of the government. Now, the grassroots party executive now becomes a bridge, the intermediary, the link between those who are already in government that were elected to represent us and the people from our communities. And so we take the message of the people from our communities to those who are already in government, and in turn we relay the party policies, the government policies and programs back to the people. We must be committed in doing this. We should not leave our people in the dark. We must carry them along. Effective campaign must be done not only during elections. We do town hall meeting when elections are just by the way, and after election we leave our people. No, this thing must be done throughout, continuously. From the local level, we must see how the minority, the underrepresented, how they have to be carried along in the scheme of things. And this has to do with youth, the women and other underrepresented groups. From our local settings, we must see how we can represent it. Now, can it shock you? In the Nigerian city, we have about 109 senators, and only 4 are women. And we know the story with one. We know the story with one of them now, and that is about 3.6%. Very poor. And you go to the House of Representatives, out of 360, they are only about how many? 14, about 3.8 or 3.9%. Okay, very poor. For the 36 governors we have, do you have any woman? No. And so, from the local level, we must make case for these underrepresented groups from the local level. Let us put them into consideration. Now, the last point that I want to make majorly are the challenges that you face as a grassroots party executive. Sure, there are challenges, and number one of them is limited resources. Limited resources. Many grassroots executives often lack the resources needed to effectively mobilize citizens and promote party politics. What is another one? Political interference is another challenge we are going to have at the local level. External pressures from party elites are often undermine the autonomy at the local level. Another one is security risk. Political tensions and conflicts sometimes expose grassroots executives to threats and violence. I'll give you an example. In 1999, my father was a ward chairman to a political party. In 1999. And somebody from my immediate community contested for councillorship in another party and eventually lost. And the one my father represented won. And conflict, broke out. And so when he was planning 2 days after the election, a day after the election, that he was going to attack, the thing fitted into my father's ear. He went to report to police. Police said, no, don't worry, he can't do anything. But my father came back and said, no, we should not undermine the threat of this young man because we know him in the community. So he carried all of us. We went to another neighboring community to stay with one of our uncles. And that night he eventually visited. Broke the whole louvers, everything in my father's house, in my father's compound. So these are some of the things you will see as a faithful political what? These are some of the things you will see, and they are challenges. And what is the way forward? The way forward out of this thing is what we are doing now. One is capacity building training, just as we are doing now, to tell us our duties, to tell us our rights, to tell us our roles, what we are supposed to do. That is the one way forward. Another one is leveraging on technological innovations, and the important one is the social media. At this point, let me place on record, I must thank the Obidient movement, what they did in the last election. They actually leveraged on the social media. This is the first time I'm seeing Dr. Yenusa face to face, but I'm one of your followers on Twitter. I followed you courageously. Yes. So many people made it happen. I don't know whether you have heard of Nafatiti, something like that, Obedient First Lady. Very wonderful. I followed her. Indicato, have you heard of her? I followed her. Pers, have you heard of her? Professor Pato Tome. These were all on ground on the social media. And they made it one. In fact, somebody said that when they started, they said they were just 4 people in the room. And that 4 people, transformed to a big threat to the regular political parties. And today, look at it. And so if the political parties at the grassroots must make an inroad, we must also leverage on the opportunities provided by the social media. It's very potent and very, very effective. Now, the last one I want to submit is what I call poem approach. P-O-E-M. The poem approach. That's what I will suggest to you. And what does P represent? Peter. O represents Obi. E represents exemplary. And M represents model. Peter Obi, exemplary model. Well, Peter Obi, exemplary model. Now, what is that model? And I will say the model and draw the curtain. There were pre-election crises. He was in PDP. All of us knew about it. He saw that the optics were not favorable to him in the PDP. He departed from PDP and started scouting for where to be. And that was how he found himself in the Labour Party. And so the first crisis he faced was in the PDP, being in the PDP. And his voice was almost suppressed. That was the first crisis. Now, the second crisis he faced was the election result manipulation by INEC. Election result manipulation by INEC. That was good enough to dampen anyone's spirit. I was downloading election result from the IREV portal. You will see where a total figure is being doctored, manipulated, changed, and yet uploaded for the whole world to see. And somebody was signed as party agents, party representatives. Now this was good enough to damp the spirit of the man. And another one, he went to court. While he was in court, we remember the Labour Party imbroglio, Julius Aburi versus Lamidi Apapa, and the rest of them, even up to now, another challenge. And the highest one was the one I called the court heartbreak. So when INEC finished their own, they said court is the last hope of a common man. We're thinking that the court will stand and stand very uprightly, fair and in an equitable way. Then what happened at the end of the day? There comes a court heartbreak. This was enough to dampen and frustrate any human being. It was enough. But here comes Peter Obi. He refused to be knocked into hibernation or sleeping mode. He is everywhere in Nigeria, still reaching out and engaging with critical stakeholders and Nigerians. He keeps connecting and interfacing with the international community in order to share and facilitate his dream. Can that be said of his co-contestant in the 2023 presidential election? No. Are we still seeing the candidates of the PDP? No. Are we still seeing the candidates of the NPP? No. Now, what is that thing that stood up for Peter Obi? Purpose, resilience, and consistency. Thank you.
We are asking that the representatives of the various local government areas, the first thing you are going to do when you go back from today to tomorrow is to start official registration of members of the Obidient movement. Now, before today, we had this form. We are going to send it to the team leaders and the WhatsApp so that you can download it. Every local government coordinator is going to have a list of all the wards in his or her local government area. In addition to the list of wards in your local government area, you are still talking there. You are going to have a list of all the polling units in your local government area. It will take time, but we want to make sure that in each polling unit we have at least 10 members. At least like we have said, we are continuing this training to the senatorial district and to the local government areas. So, as a starting point, the distinguished senator has graciously accepted to present this registration register to each of the 25 local government areas. And the person that is donated it is Honorable Oton Wande. And give me ruler. I'm only adding ruler and barrel.
That's something.
We'll do LG, okay. We'll do LGA. We'll do LGA. We'll do LGA. What about LGA?
Okay.
Patani LGA, Patani. That's what I need. Worry not West LGA. Burutu LGA. Burutu LGA. Hey, thank you. May God bless you. To come here from Burutu is not a joke. Extra congratulations. Isoko not LGA. Pomadi LGA. Sapele LGA.
My name is John Amamba Abolfo.
Trouble.
I hope we acknowledge the present one of our notable leaders, Agoke. We had a 1 minute silence for him before we started. We did. Please, let's observe a moment silent for our great man.
Thank you very much for that. We forgot.
Soul of our leader, Comrade Agoke, in the bosom of our good Lord, in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mama, for doing something good at last.
You said what?
For doing something good at last.
We had, as a grassroots mobilizer, we had a lot of challenges. And one of the major problems we were having, even up to date, owing to my constant interaction with the grassroots people, and even, hello, please, one house. What I believe in life is being realistic, and that anything worth doing is worth doing fine. In most cases, like 70% of my time when I reminisce about the past elections, my relationship with our leader P2B, my involvement with the Labour Party, and the spirit of the general Obidient movement and the 2023 election, I found out that we faced one major problem. And if we don't address this issue, it will keep repeating itself, and we might not find a headway. I tell you people, from my experience, what we are looking out for and what the masses are expecting, especially the obedient, is one thing. When I discuss with PO, I discuss with Dr. Mo, I discuss with Chinusa, I discuss with Jokpa Deli, Professor Patutomi, and a whole lot of Jokpa Pilsen, everybody, later, okay? Only one thing, that it has even raised issues between PO and myself. Why is he finding it so difficult to convert Obidient movement into a political party rather than merging with already existing party? Because trust me, even if, you know, like the speculations I'm hearing that we are having an alliance or talk going on with the SDP, the Obidient movement is a force that has to be reckoned with and has been reckoned with. We will still have issues with the SDP because when the Obidient movement comes on board, the existing party that we're trying to merge with definitely will see us as a threat. The same thing that played out in Labour. For us to have a headway, I'm of the strong opinion, let us keep pushing PO, you know, give the mandate, let's build our own political party. Through that means, you will see Nigerians will experience not only what experienced the Obidient movement in 2023, they will see a proper opposition. Because PDP, APC, SDP, all of them for me, UPN, I see them as well. Tinubu has his stooges there. So we must have our own fresh upcoming party for us to be able to identify ourselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next. We'll go to the next.
Go to the next, please. Let's restrict our questions and make it very fast, please.
Okay, very quickly.
We don't have about 10-20 minutes to do this.
Sorry. You have to do this real fast. Thank you.
Next question.
I read yours. Standing on the existing protocol, all my superiors, I welcome you to Delta State and thank you. My name is Comrade Richard Elijah. I am the spokesperson of the Elders Council and the Deputy Coordinator Delta Central in the OUSG. I want to point out something here. What doing, as I say, is what doing well. The purpose why we are here, we want to chart out a way forward to make sure we get the needed result. In Delta State here, there has been a struggle for unity for a very long time between the Obidient movement. And early last year, around October last year, the movement merged. And we have one unified force in Delta State here, which is the OUSG, which controls all Obidient structures in Delta State. Now, this event is tagged Obidient Movement Training and Workshop, which means these people that have been at the helm of affairs of the movement in Delta State, which donated, worked out voluntarily with their own personal money to make sure Delta State is delivered to people, undermining the risk that we have an aspirant for the same office in Delta State who happened to be the state governor then. Many of these persons' lives were in danger. But to keep it all, they gave their best to Delta State, and we are all here today celebrating the result. Now, what I did expect as leaders of this movement is to consolidate on what they have done, because they have merged and they have castrated their leadership from the state to the world level. And as we speak right now, they are working on pulling units. Instead of consolidating on it, we are here today giving a new coordinator, which means that house has been broken. Because none of them is invited to this place. Most of them here are here because of some 2 days notice that they rebelled in and they were just carried in here. 3 events have been held in Delta State. A meeting was held in Warri. They were invited a night to the meeting. A meeting was held in Asaba. They were not invited at all. A meeting is held here today. They were not invited. As we speak right now, the entire state is angry in the Obidient. If you go around all the platforms where they are all angry, which means when we leave here today, we are going back to settle problems. It took us time to harmonize the state. It took us almost 5 months. Our leader here will testify. 5 whole months of steady meeting and negotiating and discussion. We finally reached a compromise and we've agreed to work as a team. Every rising group that is coming up in the state is joining the OUSG.
Now, as elders and leaders of this state, we are starting up a new course because we are giving them new coordinators with new books, and they are going now on what mobility. Who will fund the mobility? Who will shatter the unity at the various world? Because now there is disunity already as we speak right now. If you want evidence, I will show you. This program originally wasn't supposed to be tagged this title. It was a purely Labour Party affair. They transform it into the Obidient affairs. Then if you are transforming it, you carry the body along. As we are here today now, most of the persons you see here, they are active, but I will tell you, sir, 80% of most of the people who claim to be obedient are obedient online. So if you want the needed result, you go to the pure obedience at the grassroots, because they are the grassroots. It took time for this to be built. Now we are shattering it down with a shovel with just one strike. And now, for doing that, many persons were on their way to this meeting, they started returning back home. And as we speak, you can see everywhere is counting. If you want the obedience, one call, one meeting, this hall is too small. It's too small. Don't pay their transport. It's too small. But I cannot see it happen as a leader. I can't see this being destroyed. It took us pain. I left my home. For 4 months, I didn't see my family. For the course of this election, I was a campaign DG to the candidate. For 4 months, I wasn't in my house. My family never saw me. They only saw me after the election. Even after the election, my life was still at risk. Then after taking that out, somebody somewhere will now plan a program that did not involve the other 3 senatorial districts and call it a state affair and bring all of us here as if we are here just for a mirage, as if we don't know what we are doing. Sir, in this state, this is a PDP state, and every candidate, every obedient member here is a threat and is at risk. Many have been injured and many will still be injured. We have gladly given up our life for the betterment of our nation and our state. But when somebody slaps this back to our face, it means we don't know what we are doing. All of us are educated, and I expect us to do the right thing. What I didn't expect was simple, sir. It's for us to consolidate on what is on ground if we need a result. But shattering us apart, we are giving the opposition the upper hand. Thank you.
Thanks to offer apology for the mix-up. Initially, yes, you're right. It was supposed to be a Labour affair. But we knew what happened within the last 2 weeks that went viral, with our excellency here being spoken about on the pages of the newspapers and social media, and our NLC political wing president. Since we have started the motion, we decided that since the majority of the people in this state who are on the side of the people we talk with are 99% obedient, let us convert it to obedient movement. And we spoke to Favor. He's your coordinator, right? Your chairman.
Yes, sir.
We made arrangement for him to be here.
Favor is in Asaba.
Wait a minute. Then listen. I said we made arrangement for him to be here. We also made arrangement initially of the people who were invited to this organization. 4 or 5 of them are members of OUSG, correct? Yes. So it's only about 5 of you or 6 of you. They were not original members of the initial plan. And since we decided to make an obedient affair, and we made arrangement for the president, he, as at yesterday, if he's in Asaba, he didn't come here, I'm very disappointed. Because yesterday I still spoke to him. He calls me Daddy. If he had any observations, he should have told us. Arrangement was made for him. Provision was made specifically for him to come with 7 other people who made up the executive of the OUSG to be here. What else do you want us to do? If there is no recognition or acknowledgement of your leadership position in Delta State Obedient, that arrangement would have been made. It was converted from Labour Party. Since it became Obedient, it behoves us, elders of the Obedient, led by our Obedient daddy, to ensure that the recognized leadership of Obedient that have been working as seriously were all represented. You had 5 of you already in the original Labour.
You intend to prove this? It's either you even take money to subsidize production, but not to
collect money and chop it, including his bone. It's criminal against the people. The values. The new Nigerian project, which embodies the Obidient movement, stands for integrity, honesty, accountability, and members of the Obidient movement who strictly to account and be responsible to the code of conduct of governance and attitude. Behaviors of members are echo on loyalty. Loyalty. And we are loyal to where? To the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Anything that will make it good, we are loyal to it. And we believe that those who have given us the messages will go through them to get to that particular loyalty for Nigeria. And as far as I'm concerned, today, there's no any other person than Peter Obi, because he has shown he has connected with the Nigerian youth, old, age, and young. And Peter Obi has said it. I am not going to take your money to spend. You know what they call security votes? Security votes. Many of our leaders take that security vote unaccountable. They don't account for it. But Peter Obi has exemplified using that particular money for the interest of the Nigerian people when he was a governor of Anambra State. What more of integrity and personality do you want from a single man? Please, I think that man deserves a round of applause. And that is why, on the 25th, which was another day, dark day in Nigerian history, where they stole our mandate, we unveiled a new logo of the Obidient movement. The logo symbolizes and embodies the very essence of who we are and the value we stand for. At the heart of that emblem is the image of Mr. Peter Obi, a leader whose life of integrity, humility, and tireless service has inspired the movement, rooted in accountability, competency, and compassion. His face on the logo is more than a reflection of an individual. It represents the collective hope of millions who believe that governance should serve the people, not the privileged few. This logo is a bold declaration of our commitment to justice, equity, and pursuit of a better Nigeria. A nation where merit prevails over mediocrity, where every citizen's voice matters, and where leadership is anchored in transparency and public good. As we unveil the logo, we reaffirm the Obidient movement is not just about one person. Because I've heard in different corners that some will say, it's the face of Peter Obi. It is not only because he embedded the ideological belief that we have. And so if the logo conceptualizes his face, it is championing a cause. We have the Awoism, we have the Ganifawamis, we have the Americanos, now we have the new brand of ideological belief, which is the Obidient movement, led by Peter Obi. Ladies and gentlemen, may this logo serve as a constant reminder that our mission transcends politics. It is a moral call to build a nation that works for every one of us. Together, we will continue to work in truth, serve with humility, and then remain steadfast in our pursuit of a Nigeria that will uphold dignity, fairness, and progress for all. So in conclusion, the future is brighter and better together. Run away from unnecessary arguments, and this is key. Unnecessary argument, struggle for position of power. I've always said it, that if me, Yunus Esalis Tanko, you give me the task of washing a toilet, and I know that the toilet will be the one that will make Peter Obi become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, please give me the location now. I will start. I will start. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us remain focused. Build the structure and the movement will be better and the nation will benefit from it. We are obedient, we are resilient, and together a new Nigeria is possible. Thank you very much for listening.
A round of applause. Thank you so much. So I'll be one of those to thank you. All right, we just heard from him now. Are we moving? Are we growing? Yes. DJ Black. This morning. All right?
We have a very long argument with the people in the other parts. I said, Obidient movement are not the people that gave Tinubu 63.7% of his vote in the north. We are not the ones. So if somebody is angry and he wants Tinubu out, let's see how they coordinate themselves. Let's see how they put themselves together. We are willing and we are ready, but we have to put our own house in order, because that's the way you negotiate with anybody that you go for merger or coalition or any alignment that you do with another person. He has to see the capacity in you, what you are bringing to the table. So we want to see what are they bringing to the table. Then what are we bringing to the table? If we are going to go and get water and wash plates, women will understand from the stream. This one is already having a bucket. So instead of us to just share that to one bucket, it's better the other one to go and get our own bucket. Now we have 2 buckets, which will help us. And in opposition politics, what is most important is blocking the incumbent in different regions so that he won't slip away and win. It happens during the APC in 2015. Once we have the north with the Buhari, it's just to have another region to block, which is the southwest. Every other thing is history. So if we want to do the same thing now, that's very important. The southern part of the country is already locked. Where they escaped in 2003 and rigged election, and they allotted the name or what they want to put for themselves. I just want to read something just very, very brief. So I found it very amazing. I think the person was asking different questions, and just listening to the names of the people that he asked what really happened. He said Tinubu cannot deliver Lagos. Listen carefully. Tinubu failed to deliver Lagos to himself. He failed to deliver Oshun to himself. Baba Buhari failed to deliver Katsina to Tinubu. Apabio failed to deliver Akwa Ibom for Tinubu. Barau failed to deliver Kano for Tinubu. NSA failed to deliver Adama for Tinubu. Senator Oshomole failed to deliver Edo for Tinubu. Atiku Bagudu failed to deliver Kebbi for Tinubu. Ganduje failed to deliver Kano for Tinubu. Memala failed to deliver Yobe for Tinubu. Al-Ali failed to deliver Gombe for Tinubu. Senator Wamoku, the list endless. But today, these are the same people that are telling you can't do it. If not because of their nonsense glitch, for example, and on our ability to protect our vote, and we allow them to write, because we thought the Vivas and the RFs are going to work. That just what caused the trouble. We know our vote is more than 10 million. We are so sure of that. More than 10 million. If to say we have guided those votes. What our Coordinator General and Global is saying is that if we can continue what we started here, I think the Minister said it too, replicate what I have seen, very beautiful setup. The faces I have seen, you will see, it gives me the confidence. I don't want to enter a hall and see a rented crowd or people coming for politics. Their faces. When you go out now, everybody will line and start following you. Okay, what do you for? That's not the kind of politics we are looking. But when you look at this place, you see, it's a serious conversation. Very organized, very serious people. Any governor, any president, anybody that sees these settings, you know that if we go with this spirit in other states, you will be surprised to see the kind of people that will be coming into this program. But when you go and you set up a system, rent crowd, bring even student union doing baba, you just become like them. That's what they used to do. But bring powerful intellectuals to sit and put a roadmap for what we'll do. I'm very pleased, I'm very happy. You can give a round of applause for yourself, and by special grace of God, we will say it everywhere that we copy from here to where we are going to. Thank you very much.
what you're seeing. Beautiful ladies on the dance floor. All right, excuse me, dance. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Reiterate that right now this is ground zero. Just give me 2 minutes. This is ground zero. And if you're here, as you're going to listen to, you're going through the workshop, this is one of the most important things that is going to happen in Nigeria. Is happening from Delta State. No wonder Delta is second to none when it comes to obedience in Nigeria. You know, I mean, I know they say I speak too much English, but without English, just like they say to our principal, now that I'll go chop. Now they know saying that I'll go chop, because that's what life is. If you look at it, it says building an effective political party machinery in a factional democracy. Our democracy is what? Is grounded in factionalism. 4 key points, straight to the point, right? The first thing is, like the national coordinator said, is what? Grassroots engagement. Is there any other institutions or organization that is as grassroots as the Obidient movement? No. The Obidient movement is the only movement where the akara seller to the mango seller to the market woman to the banker, they are connected in the energy of what? Of grassroots engagement. What they saw in 2023, they're going to see another level. That's why it's important to listen to, from the keynote speaker to what we're going to have here today. Pay full attention to it, because it's number one. Number two, strong leadership. Is there any leader today in Africa that is as strong as Mr. Peter Obi? No. Is there anybody that is as strong as the national coordinator? No. Did you listen to the former finance minister here? Have you listened to Pardeli before? The individuals, the structure of strength in the Obidient movement leadership is second to none. We are going to amplify that as we move along the way. Another one is strategic what? Engagement or alignment. People get confused. The Obidient movement is the only movement in Africa that warehouses different political parties. Yes. I have many friends from the APC who voted for Mr. Peter Obi in the last election. Yes. So they get confused when they see Mama Nenadi in certain meetings, because strategic alignment and engagement is the fulcrum of what we are here and what we are about. And it's important to understand that our movement, Mr. Peter, is the only person that people from all political, PDP, everybody are voting. You need to understand, listen today, because this is very, very critical. Another point is a clear message and direction. When we show up, there is no ambiguity. When you look at the logo, if you want to carry the logo to us, you will carry it, you are going to see Peter Obi's face. So as any party you carry it to, you are seeing there is no ambiguity now. Is there ambiguity? No. The message is the ideologies of Mr. Peter Obi: character, competence, consistency, all this is, you will see it. So if you want to carry it, you carry it. These are the key points. And then lastly, preparing for what? For elections. What is about preparing for election? The last time we went and voted, we had the highest vote, but we did not negotiate and we did not protect our vote. This time we're going to do it. This is why today is the most important day in the timeline and history of our movement as we move toward 2027. So listen, and listen attentively as you've done to the other speakers, because this is a new Nigeria.
This is a new Nigeria. Can you put those hands together if your hands said?
Ideological foundation for a better Nigeria. Most times I hear the argument or the views that Nigerian political parties or Nigerian politicians, as they are today, that they don't have ideology. Is it true? Is it true? Yes. But I differ. They have their own ideology. The ideology is that politics is the shortest means to getting rich, to becoming a millionaire. It's an ideology on its own. It's an ideology on its own. I can go on and on. So they have
their ideology. On this one, I want to say, what is ideology? What is ideology? So, I have just some brief addition. Ideology is the thought patterns in the form of ethical ideals, norms and values that captivate our minds and shape our behavior. Our thought patterns. In the course of time, the thoughts that occupy our minds, we act them, and they become what? Our behavior. It is our inward views transformed into a belief which produces creeds, cults, dogmas, and doctrines. That I am a Christian, and in Christianity I'm a Catholic. There is a particular doctrine that distinguishes a Catholic from an Anglican. True of us. There are the Lutherans, there are the Presbyterians, there are the Protestants. All these people are members of the same Christian faith, but they belong to different what? Creeds within because of what they believe they hold. We said it is the power of philosophical beliefs philosophical and belief framework for understanding the world in reality, the world we live in. It is through our thought patterns, through our ideology, we are trying to give expression to the world we live in reality. So, why is the issue of ideology, ideological foundation, why is it worth our attention? Why is it important for us as a movement to be, clear-headed about our political ideology? Because every movement, there's what drives the movement. There's an ideology. Like our national, what he spoke about, the keynote speaker, you heard he tried to enunciate those things that all Obidient hold together, that hold the Obidient together. True of us. There is a belief, there is something that everybody, the idea that we share, that make all of us, come together and we become a movement. So, I want to take from the words of Louis Althusser. He said, ideology is indispensable in any society if men are to be formed, transformed, and equipped to respond to the demands of their conditions of existence. To be able to do what? To respond. What is the mission of the Obidient movement? To build a new Nigeria. Why are we talking about a new Nigeria? Because the Nigeria as we have today has not met our what? Our expectation. So something is wrong. Why have we been able to know that something is wrong? We have an idea of how a nation should function, isn't it? So that is why we are talking about. So that's why he said ideology is indispensable in any society if men are to be formed, transformed, and equipped to respond to the demands of their conditions of existence. So we have talked about what is ideology. So we are not saying we can go on to say that definitely, so from this definition, we have seen that there is danger, or there are danger, if you are lacking in fundamental ideologies. You cannot even understand the factors at work in your life. So, from here, I will look at a man without sound, not just ideology, a man without sound ideological foundation is a potential and perpetual menace to society. He is the husband man in the state of nature. You know what Thomas Hobbes, how he described man in the state of nature? It just it's not different from the animals, the beasts of the wild. So, borrowing from Bertrand Russell, such a man goes through life imprisoned in the prejudices derived from common sense, from the habitual beliefs of his age or his nation, and convictions which have grown up in his mind without the cooperation or consent of his deliberate reason. To such a man, the world tends to be definite, finite, and obvious. Common objects arouse no questions, and unfamiliar possibilities are contentiously rejected. That is the man without a sound ideology. Then say, our people say, they have told us this, he cannot process things. He just what? A follow. The Roman plebeian that goes wherever the wind blows. Those are not the kind of citizens that will have the capacity to build, to function in a functional society, in a modern society. So, I go forward. Daniel Webster said, I apprehend no danger to our country from a foreign foe. Our destruction should it come at all, will be from another quarter, from the inattention of the people to the concerns of their government. From the concerns of what? Of their government. From their carelessness and negligence. I must confess that I do apprehend some danger. I fear that they may place too much implicit confidence in their public servants and fail properly to scrutinize their conduct, that in this way they may be made the dupes of designing men and become the instrument of their own undoing. Make them intelligent and they will be vigilant. Give them the means of detecting the wrong and they will apply the remedy. This is why it is important that people are given the sound ideological orientation so that they will be able to do what? To be vigilant, to hold their government accountable. Because if you don't do that, they have heard different, it's a popular thing, that no man is so good enough to be entrusted with what? Absolute power. Because absolute power corrupts absolutely. A state is a republican state, like we have a Federal Republic of Nigeria. Their government is based on democracy. They have parliament. Power, there's devolution of power. Power is not concentrated at the center. There is what we call cultural secularization and structural differentiation. Issue of religion and culture is not a state affairs. People are allowed, those are within the realm of culture, because we are a multicultural society. So the issue of culture belongs to the level of the various cultural units, and they are respected. There is mutual respect for every person's culture. We have periodic, free, fair, and credible elections. We have right to vote and to be voted for. There's freedom of assembly, association, and expression. There is transparency and accountability. There are checks and balances. The government is based on what reigns supreme is constitutionalism and the rule of law. Is that what we have? No. Is that what we have? No. So, what we're telling ourselves now is that what this presentation is saying is that what's supposed to form our basic ideology, so that we will know what we will demand, what we will know what will drive at. So this paper is saying that because the topic I'm addressing is the ideological foundation for what? A better Nigeria. So we are holding it, agreeing that the ideological foundation on which Nigeria should operate is that we are a federal republic. And that these things I've mentioned are the basic tenets. Because a republican system is a democratic system. And for you to say that you are witnessing functional democracy, these are the characteristics, the tenets you have to look out for. Do we have periodic, free and fair election? Do we have a functional parliament? Do we have transparency and accountability in government? These are the things we have to look at. So, okay. So my concluding remarks. Nigeria is a federal republic, yet whether led by a military junta or civilian administration, has remained under totalitarian rule. You know what that means? Yes, sir. Yes. So, we therefore own it as a duty to ourselves to propagate and entrench the Republican ideology as the appropriate basis of the government of our country.
Honesty and competence for a better Nigeria. I want to stand on existing protocols so that we can be fast about it. I want to say this. The Obidient movement is the hope for a better Nigeria. The Obidient movement is the hope for a better Nigeria. Before now, we just had political parties who had interest in grabbing power. With the emergence of somebody like Mr., we saw a hope that Nigeria could get better. In the year 2013, I had the opportunity of running a master's program in the United Kingdom. After looking at what happened over there, I discovered a first generation that was still in a race for getting better, while a country like Nigeria slept while others moved on. Nigeria, as we have it today, is a country that was called the giant of Africa. But today, the question is, are we really the giant of Africa? Being the poverty capital of the world, are we really the giant of Africa? Having an unemployment rate of over 34%, are we really the giant of Africa? It is a serious issue. Yeah? My topic is actually our commitment, honesty, and competence for a better Nigeria. Today, Nigeria has a population of about 200 million. and over 133 million of them are in poverty. The political parties that we have today have no interest in moving Nigeria from, most Nigerians from where they are to where they should be. The only movement, because when I was invited for this lecture, they talked about Labour Party. I said I had an issue with Labour Party because some of the persons that were elected from the Labour Party as a political instrument are now lobbying to go to other parties. That means they didn't have the interest of the people at hand. The only person who has stood for the betterment of Nigerians is Mr. Peter Obi and Dati Baba Ahmed. That is the hope that we have for Nigeria today. As we gather here today, I want to tell us this. Our generations are looking up to us to have a better Nigeria. Without us, our children and our children's children have no hope for the world future. That is why we are looking at the topic, our commitment, our resolve to have what? A better Nigeria. Today we are being exploited on every front. People are selling houses, properties, and all that to run to foreign nations and to become slaves. Why? Because they don't have any hope in what? Nigeria. They cannot see a future when they look at Nigeria. In other developed countries, when you have what we call living wage, not minimum wage, the way looks at how people can live and exist in that economy. Today, the minimum wage we have today cannot allow us to live. So when you talk about Labour Party and principally the Obidient movement, it is a movement for revolution and change so that Nigerians can have a better life. So it is not a joke that we are here today. It is a reason for us, for people to remember us, that in a day like this, we sat down together to make Nigeria a better place. I want to urge us today, as we speak, that the progress of Nigeria rests, from all the political parties that are looked on, it rests in the party which we call Labour Party. And apart from Labour Party, it rests in a movement called the Obidient what? Movement. Without the Obidient movement, what we see today, we don't have a hope for the Nigeria we have today. So I want to appeal to us that this is not just a workshop that we will just sit down and say there was a workshop that was recorded and there was no call to action. Nigeria, often referred to as the giant of Africa, is a nation beaming with what? Potentials. If we go all over the world, Nigerians, they are doing great. A lot of them want to come back to Nigeria, but what they see is highly discouraging. The only person, not being political here, the only person who they see that if this person handles the leadership position, there's hope for tomorrow, is Peter Gregory Obi and Dr. Dati Baba Ahmed. Without that, it is difficult for them to have the hope to come back. So I want to say that Nigeria has all it takes to be progress. It is a country beaming with abundant resources. We have culture. If we go to social media, a lot of people are doing a lot of things about Nigerian culture, dancing, food, and all that. We have that greatness, that zeal for success. If you go all over Nigeria, all over the world, you see that Nigerians are doing great. The Google map we have today is done by a Nigerian. A lot of things that we see today are done by what? Nigerian. The first aeronautical engineer in the world is a Nigerian. all of them want to make their input in Nigeria. But the Nigeria they see today is something they have little hope in. And if we can come together to forget about just being in political offices, but make Nigeria a better place, a lot of them will come back to make their input to make Nigeria a better place. I want to appeal to us. It says here, our commitment, honesty. Honesty is a very key factor. Let me give you a simple example. I schooled in the United Kingdom. And when we had issues, if you buy a property or an item and you have a problem with it, you just take it back to the store. Once you have your receipts and the issue is genuine, they refund your money back to you. But in Nigeria, that's not the same case. You have a lot of issues. If you go to the social media today, you see issues of the Senate President and Natasha. Is that the most pressing issue that we have in Nigeria today? There's issue of poverty. There's issue of unemployment. There's issue of being harassed, Nigerians harassed in every country where they are in. And the most important issue we see on social media today is the Senate President and Natasha. It shows to a great extent that we are still joking. We have not taken to heart the challenges we have in this country. I have a friend currently in Canada. The child, can we listen please? The child is 14 years old. She can travel from one province to another without fear of being kidnapped, harassed, or molested. But I have a child that schools just close in Asaba here. But I find it difficult to put that child in public transport to move him from point A to point B because I fear of what? Insecurity. Now we move around the world to ask for something. We are looking for foreign direct investment. How can we get that when what they see out of Nigeria every day is negativity, dishonesty, corruption, and every other thing? I want to urge us today that it is not just about, like, why I have so much reverence, respect for Peter Obi. He said, it's not about having power or coming together to have power, but to use the power for something relevant. So I want to urge us today that our commitment here, like my topic says, our commitment, honesty and what? Competence. Honesty means that you have the ability to stay true to your word. There's one thing Peter Obi always tells us. He says, go and what? Verify. Until today, we have not had any reason to doubt that verification, no matter the rumor that we hear. He chose another person because I believe it's divine. He chose another person called Dati Baba Ahmed. And when you look at the pedigree of both personalities, if those people saddle the power of leadership, we know that Nigeria is going what? Somewhere. So I want to say, because one of the challenges we had was that, yes, we started at first. With the election of 2023, a lot of people are disillusioned. People don't want to vote again because they feel that the establishment has corrupted all the systems. But I am very happy today that we have come together today to give hope back to the people, because the hope starts from what? Us. If we don't have hope, we cannot give hope to what? Others. What the establishment wants is that when we go home in the next election, people will not come out and what? Vote, because they believe that their vote does not what? Count. But with what I'm seeing here today, there is a belief that whatever it takes, we will bring our heart out to make sure that change is what? Imminent. I had a mentor that told me something. She said, you cannot change, that nobody can change Nigeria if that person is not willing to give up everything for what? Nigeria. Mr. Gregory Peter Obi gave up everything for what? Nigeria. Daddy Ahmed threw caution to the wind to make Nigeria what he wanted it to what? Be. I want us here today, it is not just a joke. We are here today for a workshop to talk about how we can make Nigeria what? Better. How we can make Nigeria what? Better. In the Western world, they have what we call generational thinking. Life is not just about you. It's about your children and your children's what? Children. What are you going to bequeath to them? A lot of people who are even here are struggling to survive. So what are you going to give to your children's children after you have come back? Our encouragement here is this. Our encouragement here is this. Labour Party, I don't know, is a party for Labour, where we work to make sure that everybody has a fair share of what they should have. I want to encourage everybody here. I am not a politician. I came here basically because I saw what they call obedient movements. I want us not to be discouraged. The only thing I want to say is here, on my work here is honesty. If you are not honest, you cannot transfer honesty to somebody else. So honesty stands for you. Honesty stands for what? You. Your dealing. Why are we able to rally around? Peter Obi says something. He said, we don't give money. I don't know what I say. We don't give shishi or something. And people still rallied around to follow him. People rallied around to what? To follow him. Because his antecedents spoke for him. Let our antecedents speak for us. I'm not encouraging just to grab power. No. Power is meant for service. Power is meant for service. If your power that you are anticipating is not meant for service, you are not different from any other person. The second part of it is competence. Competence, having the capacity to do what you have promised that you said you will what? Do. A lot of politicians have come to tell us what they could do or what they will do until today they have not what? Done it. My encouragement to us here is that let us start from the little things, from the environment that we are in. What are we doing? You don't start from the big things, you start from the little things. In your environment, what are you doing? What do people say about you in your environment? What have you done? Peter Obi that we are rallying around today, we can look back, look at his antecedents, where he walked, what he did and all that. That is the reason why we are saying, based on what he has done, we believe he can do better, given the opportunity. We did say that you involve them in decision making. We did say that your conduct was ethical. Today, I think there's a person called Kenneth Okonkwo. He was very angry with Peter Obi because he felt maybe Peter Obi did not lead a revolution when he won. Yeah? But he's an ethical person. He's an ethical person. He believed that things should be done the way they were. His idea was not just to become a president, but to see a better Nigeria. So he didn't want to partake in the idea of circumventing the rule of law just to get to power. He was ethical. Is it accountability? He had it. He had accountability. So I want to urge us, because we are Peter Obi represented in our various communities. People have lost hope, I will tell you that. But if they see you and I still having hope and carrying activities that are sacrificial in nature, not because you want something.
Sit down. If you are for this program, sit down. No distraction, please.
Thank you so much for joining us. All right. We'd like to introduce some very important personalities here with us, and of course, many who are still on your way. If you have your program, you can just take a glance at it while we do what we do right here. All right, first on my list is very quickly, I'd like to give kudos and give honor to the chairman of the occasion, Professor Theophilus Ndubuako, Chairman Political Commission of the Nigeria Labour Congress LLC. A round of applause. You're welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us. You're welcome. All right, we also have here in our midst special guest of honor, distinguished Senator Nnadi Smonu, the chairman of the National Caretaker Committee of the Labour Party. A round of applause, man. Good to see you. Thank you so much. All right. Or just, we have a Dr. Tanko, Dr. Tanko, not here yet, on his way, all right, we expect that he joins us soon. We also have here Comrade Chris Uyot, the Secretary of the Political Commission of the NLC. You're welcome, sir. It's good to see you. And of course, Mr. Deli Ajifo, aka Big Daddy, is in the building. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. You're welcome. And of course, if you look this way, you know him already, the Obidient Daddy, Chairman of the Delta Obidient Elders Council, Sir Chris Bios. A round of applause. A round of applause. Thank you. Next on our list is Sir Chris.
Also, special welcome to Professor Theophilus Ndubuako, the chairman of the Political Commission of the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC. Prof, you're welcome, sir. And his team, which include Comrade Chris Uyot, my namesake, the Secretary of the Political Commission of the Nigerian Labour Congress. We are expecting Dr. Tanko Yunusa, the #1 obedient in Nigeria, appointed by His Excellency, Mr. Peter Obi, as the National Coordinator of the Obedient Movement in Nigeria and diaspora. And of course, my brother and Big Daddy, Mr. Deli Ajifo, and other dignitaries. This occasion is very important because it has been long in the making. This occasion has been long in the making. We have been wanting to put together a structure that will lay a solid foundation for the obedient movement in Delta State. But for long, we did not receive the approval or nod of the national body. And since we cannot operate in isolation, we have to hold back. So I have to give special thanks to the national leadership, particularly this distinguished senator, for giving us the note today. We really appreciate it. Please help me to give her applause for that. Now, this workshop is the first in a series. We have in mind that after this workshop, for those who are going to help us to manage Dr. Tanko Yunusa. Dr. Tanko Yunusa.
A round of applause for him. You're welcome, sirs. It's good to see you. Welcome.
Like I said earlier, the support is there, but it's not focused. It's diffused. It's not channeled. And it's not structured. And that is what we intend to do. And after that, the female population is a very important segment of the electorate. We intend to organize special workshop to sensitize, to conscientize, and to empower intellectually and psychologically the female population in Delta State. We want to build new generation of Fumilayo Ransom Kutis in Delta State. How many of you know Fumilayo Ransom Kuti? We want to build a new generation of Hajia Gambo Sawaba of Zaria. How many of you know about her? We want to build a new generation of Ekbo, Margaret Ekbo. These were female political activists that made waves in the First Republic. Our women have important role to play. Our women are easily misled. We have to educate them and empower them intellectually, psychologically, and otherwise. One of our projects. And another part of our project is that I have here a list of not only the local governments, not only the wards, but the polling booths. We want to make sure that at least in each polling booth, there are at least 10 obedient political defenders who are well empowered in each polling booth. Are you hearing me? It is not enough to say we are there. In each polling booth, in each ward in Delta State, there must be at least each well-trained political obedience who understand the process of keeping records of what is going on in a polling area during election. Properly trained, with equipment. This is the task we have set for ourselves. And we are, by this occasion, seeking the authority and support of the national movement for this project. Because what happened during the last local government elections in Delta State, the ruling party could not confront us. They had to go and write results secretly. Is Mr. Benyogo here? Is Mr. Benyogo here? Now, in some of our local government areas, they could not come out to bring election materials because we were prepared for them. So the best thing they could do was to go and write results. If they come out to vote, we will defeat them. Clap for yourselves, Obidient. And we want to make sure that when this happens, we will be in a position to defend our votes. So having said that, I want to take this opportunity to thank the new generation that is taking over from all the older generation. I entered the political struggle in 1979 when I resigned my academic position in the University of Lagos to join the political struggle. And I had retired until Mr. P2B emerged as the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in 2022. And I came out from hibernation. So I am saying that we are handing the baton to a new generation. And we don't want the flame to flicker or to die in your time. Are you promising us that you will keep the flame of obedience flying in Nigeria? Yes. Are you promising us that you will take us to the promised land? Yes. For me, this is my last battle. I have no other battle. I don't have battle of buying car. I don't have battle of building house. I don't have battle of buying clothes. My last battle is to pray and walk and see whether Nigeria can be good in my lifetime. And this is my prayer. Thank you very much. You are welcome. Thank you very much.
While we're just having... Can we just do that? Thank you, sir. Chairman of the occasion, Professor Chairman, Political Commission.
Today, as the chairman of this momentous occasion, on behalf of the NLC Political Commission and the NLC, I want to appreciate the fact that the Obidient movement in Delta State has honored us to be present here and chair this occasion. This is to be the inauguration of the Delta State Committee of the Obidient Movement and Training Workshop. This is the first of its kind in this country now, as it is. And we are sure that we will replicate this in other states, because we will encourage that Obidient all over Nigeria will conduct such a workshop as we mobilize towards what is coming in the near future. I'm happy that the leadership or the chairman of the Obidient Movement worldwide is present today. Today we gather under the theme, Building an Effective Party Machine in an Effective Democracy. This theme resonates deeply with our shared vision for a stronger, more inclusive, and more participatory democracy. As we embark on this journey together, let us remember that the Labour Party's strength lies not just in its ideology, but in the collective efforts of its members to drive positive change. Because we have a man called Peter Obi, whose politics is phenomenal. And we believe with him that a new Nigeria is possible. The Nigerian Labour Congress, as represented by the National Political Commission here present, is committed to the ideals of democracy that is participatory and inclusive. This will allow the working people and the Nigerian poor the space to not only be involved, but effectively ventilate their views towards building a nation hinged on sustainable development and prosperity for all. The core mandate of the Commission is to advise organized labor and its trade unions on partisan politics and carry out intensive political education and mobilization of workers. This also includes identifying the genuine pro-workers political groupings for the purpose of possible political collaboration. It is very clear that what we have as Obidient Movement is a pro-worker organization. The man Peter Obi is a completely pro-worker personality. And that's why the Obidient Movement is spreading beyond the shores of this country. Since its establishment in the wake of the launch of Labour Party in Calabar in 1989, we have had issues because anti-worker personalities have always tried to hijack the Labour Party. As we are gathered today, the Labour Party we believe in and we are following is the Labour Party backed by Peter Obi, the Labour Party represented by the chairman of the National Caretaker Committee, not the transactional Labour Party that everybody is running away from. I must make that very clear. But I can also tell you that the NLC will never allow a few persons, no matter who is backing them, to hijack a party that is founded, registered, and has been promoting since 1989. So our partnership with Obidient movement, in fact, you can hardly see any member of the political commission who does not align with the ideology of the Obidient movement or PO. Our partnership has become a twin partnership that is between the Nigerian workers and the Obidient movement. And that's why we are really very happy that this occasion, this inauguration, is kicking off in Delta State, where someone says that that's where the umbilical cord of the Obidient movement is buried. So it is instructive that in the 2007 elections, Dr. Olusegun Mimiko was elected governor under the platform of the Labour Party. And we have moved forward to the point where the Labour Party has become the Labour Party, the real Labour Party, not the one that has been hijacked, has become a party to beat. No one is in doubt that Labour Party won the presidential election. And no one is in doubt that if we rebrand Labour Party and get it back from the people who have hijacked it, or they've not even hijacked it, they are trying to. And with the support of Obedience, that has become an unstoppable movement. Yes. No one is in doubt that 2027 will be a done deal. As we have done the post-mortem of 2023, we know what went wrong. But come 2027, you also know that our votes must count. We will protect our votes and we'll make sure it counts. And you also know that even those who voted for the other people, all of them are now are regretting. So, whereas we won 2023, we now have more followers, yes, more believers in Nigeria, more believers that Nigeria, a new Nigeria, is possible. Following this, it is apparent that the owner of Labour Party, ownership of Labour Party, is not in doubt. As you know, this is validated by the return of certificates of registration of Labour Party to the NLC for custodianship by Barrister Dan Iwanyanwu, a former chairman of the Labour Party, of the party. Again, in this consent judgment delivered on 20th March 2018, Justice Kolawole of the Federal High Court ruled that the Labour Party belongs to the NLC and ordered for an expansive and inclusive national convention of the party. And that's why we have the National Caretaker Committee that is working with the NLC Political Commission to begin to organize an all-inclusive and expansive Congress. Comrades, as an organization that believes in sustainable democracy, this is inclusive and participatory. You all know that the Nnewi Convention organized by Abure does not only violate the judgment and settlement by INEC, but its conduct does not in any way approximate to an expansive and all-inclusive national convention as ruled by the courts. As we inaugurate the Delta State Transition Committee, as we inaugurate this transition, this as we go through this workshop, I inaugurate this committee, this Obidient committee. We're also working to make sure that when the time comes, we are going to work towards joining in whatever the branding we're going to do to make sure that Peter Obi and Obidient have a platform for 2027 election. So this committee will play a vital role in shaping our party's strategy, fostering collaboration, and ensuring that our actions align with the principles of democracy and aspirations of our people. The training workshop that accompanies this inauguration is designed to equip us with the knowledge, skills, and best practices necessary to build a robust and effective political party machine. Through this workshop, we will delve into the intricacies of party management, campaign strategies, and community engagement. We will share experiences, learn from each other, and emerge more united to make a difference. As we move forward, let us be guided by the principle of transparency, accountability, and inclusivity. Let us recognize that our party's success is not solely measured by electoral victories, but by the positive impact we have on the lives of our citizens. To the members of the Delta States Obidient movement, I charge you to work tirelessly to listen to the voices of our people and to lead with integrity and vision. To our workshop facilitators and participants, I urge you to engage fully, to share your expertise, and to learn from one another. Together, we can build a movement that is truly of the people, by the people, and for the people. Together, we can strengthen and create a democracy that is effective, inclusive, and just. Let us begin the journey with optimism and a shared commitment to excellence, and the Obidient movement is assured that Nigerian workers will continue to promote this twin partnership until our goals are achieved. Thank you.
The opening speech by the chairman. All right, we'll take a break.
That time, even when Senator Adams Oshomole wanted to contest election, he didn't want to use the Labour Party. So for him to have been a Labour man all his life and didn't want to use the Labour Party to contest election, he says a lot. But since His Excellency P.O. joined the Labour Party, the Obidient movement came, boosted the party, made it strong. We thought that the leadership of the party was going to do the needful. Because you see, when you come out to contest an election, there is what the candidate and his movement can do, but there is also what only the party can do. In Nigeria, we don't have independent candidacy. So you must, no matter how large your movement is, you must contest election under a political party. So if you, as the candidate, your movement, your people, you do the needful, you are able to mobilize people, sensitize people, but when it comes to the day of election, the party messes you up at the polling unit, the rest of the story, you know what will happen because we all saw it. Now, we are here. As Obidient, we all did our part. We did what we should do. Nigerians were sensitized. Professor Nduwagu said something. He said the average Nigerian worker and the Obidient movement, they are twins. They are one and the same. But in as much as mobilization was done, we know what went wrong. But are we going to correct it, or we are just going to sit down and look? We want to correct it. That is why I believe today's workshop is very key. Because we need to start training ourselves in such a way that come another time of election, we will know what to do. Even if those who should do it don't do it, we will know what to do.
Yes.
And Professor Ndubuagu said another thing, which I want to reiterate. He said we are going to replicate this in every state. So just like how you have come together to train yourself, have this workshop, we are going to encourage every state of the Federation to do the same. So that the movement is not just a movement, but has a clear structure that can be depended on to win an election. If you go and cast your vote, nobody is there to watch over those votes, guard it for you, make sure you follow right to the collation center, make sure the result sheet is out, make sure your polling agents are paid. Not that somebody takes the money and runs away with it. Polling agents must be. So we will know what to do when that time comes, if other states come together like you have done now to start training themselves. And we will encourage that. Thank you. So congratulations. The Obidient movement came from being 4 people tweeting in a room to producing millions of votes. It's not a joke. And I know now that it is clear that we are not 4 people tweeting in a room. We've produced millions of votes. People are even expecting much more from us. This time around, we won't just produce the votes, but we'll be able to defend the votes, and we'll make sure the votes count.
Correct.
I know people have been saying that, oh, those who cast the vote don't count. It's those who count the vote that count. But we want to change that. We want to change it so that those who count, who vote, who cast the vote should count. Their votes should count. The Political Commission of the NLC, under the leadership of Professor Ndubuagu, they've been doing very well. They are working hard, working tirelessly to make sure that things work normally. Because when you have a political party that is not interested in winning election, they are only interested in selling forms, collecting money, transacting business here and there. You can't use it to win any election because it's not structured to win an election. But I thank God, Professor and his team, they are doing everything possible to make sure that that changes. And I believe that with the support of the Obidient movement, that will change. I want to assure you that a new Nigeria is indeed possible. We came from where daughters and sons of poor men rose with good education to be whatever in the society. But is it like that now? No, it's no longer like that. But we have to change that. The daughter of the farmer, the daughter of the mechanic, the son of the vulcanizer should be able to be given a good education, and he can rise to be a minister of the Federal Republic, a senator of the Federal Republic. It all depends on what we want to do. Well, I think with these few words, I would want to stop here. But before I stop, let me once more thank you profusely. We are sincerely very grateful for this very, very well-planned workshop. I pray that God will continue to bless each and every one of you, that God will continue to give us all the courage to do the needful, and that just like you came from different parts of the state to Asaba for this occasion, for this workshop. When you are going back, may God take each and every one of you back safely, so that when you go, you take the message back, train, you are being trained here, having this workshop, so that you can go back and train people, local government, then the local government, those in the local governments who train those in the wards, those ones who then go down to the polling units and train them. So I think once we do that, the sky is the limit for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Obidient. A new Nigeria is possible. Thank you so very much. I'm going to take it very nice and slow, so that I will not miss anybody. But most importantly, in the order of protocol, I will say to everybody on this side of the aisle, good morning to you all, because you are the key, most important part of this particular workshop that we are having this morning. So good morning to you, sirs and ma'ams. Permit me to recognize the chairman of this occasion, Professor Theophilus Ndubako, a very amiable gentleman, the chairman of the occasion of this workshop. Sir, good morning, sir. We have also here a very humble, amiable, and very assertive person. You may not know that she's very assertive. For anybody that can be the Minister of Finance, you know that she's very, very assertive. Distinguished Senator, because I used to call her Distinguished Senator. She's my sister, Distinguished Senator Nenadi Usman, former Minister of Finance, and of course, the chairperson of the Critical Committee of the Labour Party one time in Nigeria. Man, thank you very much. I'll go down the line to also recognize Chief Chris O.O. Bayose. He is called the Obidient Daddy. So you see, we have even been recognized by the leaders of the Obidient movement, and we even have a daddy in the Obidient movement. Chief, good morning, sir. You know, as you move, there are important individuals in your life, and we are being guided by some of these activities of these persons. Permit me to recognize the presence of my comrades. We have been in the trenches for a very long time. Comrade Chris Uyot, who is seated right on this table. Good morning, sir. We have one of our ardent supporters and a very strong person in the name of Chief Deacon Chris Iyawe, who is here absent. Please, a round of applause for him. Deacon King Kempela, and our daddy, who have always and consistently been in support of the Obidient movement, Baba Dele Ajofo. Sir, good morning, sir. Nice seeing you. Always with his beautiful heart. Ladies and gents, are big men. We have another big man right by my side here on the left. He is no other person than Alhaji Ibrahim Abdul Karim. He was the DG of the Big Tent, and then the leader of the Obidient movement as member of the National Coordinating Council of the Obidient movement, too, challenging, leading the battle from the northwestern states of Nigeria, full of ideas and quantum of experience. Please, a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, a while ago, Chief Adamtini exited this particular room, so possibly, I hope I've covered everybody. Once again, I greet you, good morning. Thank you. You know why I said once again, it's always good to say good. You say there's a power in the tongue. So if you ascribe to yourself goodness, you will always get goodness. And I believe the Obidient movement who stand for good governance, stand for good thing for the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I have just 2-page document that I want to share with you. It's not going to take you so long. Now, I titled the document as the strengthening the foundation of democracy, the role of the Obidient movement in nation building. Because I know a lot of people are trying to actually understand what we are doing. This is an opportunity. By way of introduction, the Obidient movement is a landmark gathering aimed at consolidating the effort and achievement of the Obidient movement in fostering good governance. The key word is good governance, accountability, and civic engagement across Nigeria. The movement strives to stand as a platform for discussing and strategizing to sustain the momentum of nation building, highlight the role of active citizens in governance, and chart a roadmap to the future of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In this process, we intend to engage stakeholders, policymakers, thorough leaders, and development partners to deliver on critical issues that affect you and I. The objective is very clear: to unify and strengthen the Obidient movement vision and objective, to discuss actionable plans for enhancing citizen participation in governance, to share success stories, challenge for various states, to foster collaboration with organizations committed to democratic development. Not this one that we will wake up in the morning and we hear that the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has created or is spending money to build a yacht on the top of the sea, or to connect or to destroy those existing roads that have not been connected with Nigerians. Moving from here to the part of the north, passing through Auchi is a catastrophic view, or trying to buy a new plane that will cater for his own self and his family. This is totally against the interests of the Obidient movement, and we will challenge it anytime, We are determined as a people to unify and strategize activities towards the next election of 2027. Strengthen network among Obidient movement across the states, so that when an Obidient member speaks from Inlela, he connects with somebody from Ekot Ekpene. When somebody speaks from Zambisa Forest, because there are people living there, he can connect with his own colleague in Ibejuleki or Badagry. We can connect with our brothers and sisters in Barike-Ladi or in Boko. Or we can connect with our brothers and sisters in Rakodu, in Kwara State. Or go as far as Minchika, we can connect. Making sure that we cover the total number of the 176,000 polling units an Obidient movement person must be in that particular place. That is our target. The Obidient movement has profoundly transformed African political landscape throughout, where to disrupt the former norms of politics in Nigeria. This movement is driven passionately by the Nigerian youth, who as of 2023 were able to register 12.5 million Nigerians, who determined that today the old order stopped, a new order is being established and is being championed by the Obidient movement through the messages of our leader, Peter Obi. No wonder some couple of days ago we were in Bauchi, and the governor of Bauchi State, Anambala Mohammed, right?
Yes.
Mentioned unequivocally in the public glare that Peter Obi is the new leader of the opposition in Nigeria. And he said it, that he is ready to work with him. Some couple of years ago, you don't hear this kind of messages coming from the northern part of the Nigeria. But today, who is saying that the Obidient movement is docile? Are we growing or not growing? Are we growing or not growing? Harnessing the various media platforms, the Obidient movement has effectively spread its messages, engaged voters, challenged dominance of Nigerian major political parties. The new wave of political activism has sparked up interest and increased participation, reshaped the strategy, employed political campaign across the nation. What started as a grassroots initiative to reform Nigeria's stagnant political system has evolved into a global social ideological movement. The movement resonates deeply with citizens who are tired of corruption, insecurity, and economic hardship. As our leader will always say, let's work for the health of every Nigerian. Let's work to secure Nigeria. Let's work to educate Nigerians, most especially education. And finally, he will always say, let's work so that we can pull people out of poverty. Nigeria has no business with poverty because God has blessed us. The driving force behind the movement is a collective shared desire for challenge, transparency, accountability. Movement embodies the aspiration of a generation determined to reclaim Nigerian future and build a better nation for all citizens. It didn't say for all Muslims. It didn't say for all Christians. It didn't say for all Babalawos. He said for all Nigerians. And that is key because it's a unifying word that we need to build a country. That you don't need to change your clothes if you are going to the north to wear a jalabia. You don't need to change your clothes and wear isiagu because you are going to Imo State. You dress the way you are known and you'll be appreciated where you are going because you are who you are and Nigeria is what we are as a people. In representing a unique ideological culture, Nigeria across the sub-Saharan Africa, rooted in principle of volunteerism, and that is the key word, volunteerism. This particular workshop was not sponsored by me, neither was it sponsored by His Excellency Peter Obi. It was sponsored by you, the people of Delta State. And that is key. Because that is the key word, because all of us are involved. When we are involved, we own the process. And that is exactly what we want. Every Nigerian can own this process because he's protecting the future of his own unborn children. And we believe strongly that Peter Obi is the lead way to Aso Rock. The movement transcends political affiliation, socio-cultural background, ethnic identity, religious belief, and radical issues from individuals uniting Nigeria across under a shared vision to progress. And there are this guiding principle, which is key to the Obidient movement. And I'll make them known to you. Competency, delivering results. Character, lead with integrity. Capacity, handle complexity. Credibility, earn trust. Earn trust, credibility. I mentioned it, earn trust, because most of us have lost trust in most of our leaders because they have disappointed us on a continuous basis. And we will not accept it because Nigeria belongs to every one of us and we must build it together. We don't need to run to Dubai. We don't need to run to America. Nigeria has everything that can collect all of those two countries and we make it even greater than what it is. The last word is compassion. The people's first. Put the people ahead of you as your target. Once you put the people, they will be your first defense and line of defense. You don't need a policeman if the people are with you. They will protect you all through. It's because you are submerging them with disdain. That is why you are looking for police to protect you. And then you are stealing the government money belonging to everybody as against their interests. That should stop. In building our structure base, from previous regional engagement, we had and approved an advisory council, a directorate to follow up with the state collective very soon. And that is why it is important to clear the air in this particular workshop. That we are only doing a workshop, a training of the obedience to go back to their constituency, to register, and you will come later to inaugurate the cell and leadership and strengthen the Obidient movement down the line. That is exactly what we are doing. The Obidient movement has its vision and its mission and values. The visions are one, collectively building a Nigeria where every citizen thrives to the fullest potential, regardless of background or circumstances. The mission is clear. Our mission is to establish citizenship with a culture of accountability and productivity. As the leader always say, from consumption to